Yo, what's the deal? What's the deal? It's your boy who is Endo, and we back talking sports. We got another episode. You know, you new age basketball fans really tick me off, bro. Or you motherfuckers that, you know what I'm saying, try to move goalposts really tick me off. So now, the accolades don't matter. But when accolades don't matter when you trying to make a case for your own player. Now, when I said accolades didn't matter, you know what I'm saying, about Kobe, when we was saying that shit, we was a hater. But dog in the bottom right corner, he had he had a good point. But let's see what this goofy MARZ.
And everything, or LeBron versus MJ. When you start bringing accolades into it, like, what's the point of even debating them at that point? Because then you're not debating them as players, you're debating them based on what they achieved. And if we're talking basketball, if I'm talking basketball with someone and I say, I think, if I have LeBron.
Number one, you saying that accolades don't matter because, which I agree, it lets you know who's the greatest, not who's the best. Which I agree with. But what Dog is going to say in the bottom right corner, you'll see.
Over MJ, which I don't. But if I had LeBron over MJ, and then you tell me, why do you have LeBron over MJ? Mike's a 5-time MVP, 6-time champion, defensive player of the year, all of that stuff. We're not talking about basketball. We're talking about what they achieved. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. I just don't know why we would be.
So we're not talking about basketball when we say MJ has more MVPs, more scoring titles. We not talking about basketball. We're not talking about being MVP, being the most valuable player on your team due to your performances on the court. Like MJ playing point guard, averaging 32, 8, and 8. Or having 200 steals and 100 blocks in a season that led to the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. That happened. Him impacting his team on two sides of the floor is basketball, which led to him winning accolades, which was the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. Not making no sense, bro.
Talking about that because, for example, someone who's never watched a dribble of basketball in their life can go on Basketball Reference, search up Michael Jordan, search up LeBron James, read off their accolades,
like this nigga do. Go back and watch all the old games and think he knows something. Nigga never played on a team ever in his life. I may not have played overseas or anything, but I played on the basketball team plenty of times, bro. I'm an avid basketball player. I get on the court. You feel me? I grew up watching a tougher era, late 90s, 2000s. Niggas like this, and I'm going to tell you something else, bro. This shit only start becoming a thing when LeBron James fans and other fans who don't think Michael Jordan is the GOAT start trying to find ways to discredit him. Let's be real.
their averages and make an opinion on who should be ranked higher. I just don't want to be part of a debate where you don't have to watch someone play to be able to make a reason why they would rank higher. It's like most people have Kareem at number 3, and none of them have taken the time to watch any Kareem basketball. He won 6 MVPs, he won 6 titles, so he should be in the conversation with Mike and LeBron. Like, if you think Kareem is in the conversation with Mike and LeBron and you give me reasons based on how he played basketball, that's a conversation I'm willing to have. But if your conversation is based...
But that's when you have to bring accolades into it. If you can go back and look at how Kareem played. But Kareem played different than LeBron played or MJ played. It's really all about preference. If you're not going off of accolades, you may enjoy seeing a guard play more than a big man. That don't mean that guard is better than that big man. A lot of people enjoy seeing LeBron play more than more than they would like seeing a Kareem play, because he's just standing at the basket or whatever, or somebody feeding him the rock, and he basically going with the skyhook.
On nothing you've watched and just everything you see they achieved, you're not talking about basketball. You're talking about accomplishments within the sport, but nothing about their game. And that...
You're not talking about basketball. You're talking about accomplishments within the sport, which is basketball. You get your accomplishments by your performance on the court. Some people don't get their accolades because of politics and the media, which is, which is a big reason why some people don't have MVPs. They don't get the award right every year. But you will have to be a fool to say that accolades do not matter when you're gauging who is the better player. It is not the end-all, be-all, but you would have to be a fool to say that 6 MVPs don't matter. 6 Finals MVPs don't matter. Or 10 All-NBA defensive teams don't matter. You feel what I'm saying? It's just like how we say analytics don't matter. You can't say accolades don't matter and then say analytics matter, or, then if that's the case, then we just going off of eye test. If the accolades don't matter, then we just going off a straight eye test.
My issue with accolades and how people use them.
But wouldn't somebody be able to say the same thing about you and your stance? When you're talking about somebody has never watched a game of basketball, never dribbled a game of basketball, can read the box score and then make an assessment off of that. Obviously, box score is like the basic level statistic that you loudly disagree with in terms of taking that into the argument, right? But you do have like a more deeper value statistic that you go off of. And technically speaking, you can go off of those as well, because I would say that somebody could say that whatever you're talking about can be said by somebody who's never watched a game either. Because when we're talking about it, I don't think I've ever heard you make a statement that isn't supported by numbers. And I don't think I've ever...
Never. And I don't even watch this a lot. I watch some of the episodes. Some of them are intriguing. Sometimes I turn them off because of the takes that be going on over there. But this guy, MARZ, I've never heard him make a take that is not supported by statistical numbers. So, stats, accolades. You know what I'm saying? So, you could say the same thing about you. Everything that you say are supported by stats. It's not supported by, when I watched the game, this is what I seen, and this is who I think is better based off of what I seen on the court, or how I seen them play. If accolades don't matter, then stats don't matter either, because the stats is how you get the accolades. Stats contribute to you getting your accolades. Right? So if accolades don't matter, then stats shouldn't matter. We should only care about the eye test. Because that means rings don't matter. That means we should just only care about the eye test. And when I say, and if that's the case, Kobe Bryant is the greatest of all time. The greatest I ever seen in my life, bro. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? So this is really what Kobe fans been saying. Eye test, if you want to be real, You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, then everybody should just go off of the eye test. Who do you think is the best when you watch basketball being played? But then they will backtrack if that's the case. People only say stuff like this. People only say stuff like this to win their argument or support their argument.
Heard you actually make a basketball statement in terms of like what is happening on the court in terms of like dynamics of play and stuff like that. Like everything is supported by numbers.
That's not
So,
true.
and the numbers.
I would just highly disagree with that if that's what you think how I make
What's
points.
okay? So what's your primary like go-to basketball statement that isn't?
I mean,
rooted in numbers?
the way I talk about basketball, I talk about how they played and how I believe that impacted their team. And when I took the numbers, I usually
And you go back to numbers every time. This nigga is sitting on here lying like he don't every time say that, oh, this player impacted this player impacted this, and then he quote numbers right off the top. Like, bro, you're sitting here lying.
talk about would either be, if we're talking about scoring, I'll talk about true shooting, efficiency, which you don't have to talk about someone's games to talk about their true shooting. But I do talk about their games. I talk about Kobe's versatility and how I don't think it would trump a player like Shaq's dominance inside.
But it would. Kobe's versatility would trump Shaq's dominance inside. Shaq was not dominating, bro. I watched Shaq and Kobe. Shaq was dominating inferior players. When he played the Spurs, when he played the Blazers, he was not as dominant as he was when he was in the finals. When he was in the finals, he was playing Ty McCullough, Dikembe Mutombo, Ty McCullough, Dikembe Mutombo, and Rick Smits. Now, Rick Smits gave him problems because Rick Smits could shoot a jumper and bring him outside. But Shaq was just too dominant for him. He never played a top center when he was in the finals, bro. Kobe dismantled the Spurs when he played them with Shaq and without Shaq. In 2008, Kobe damn near swept them 4-1, bro, without a top 75 player. Kobe's versatility automatically trumps Shaq's dominance. Because I watched him, Shaq was only dominant against inferior players, bro. What happened when he went up against Hakeem in the finals? What happened? What happened in 2003 when Kobe outplayed him against the Spurs? People don't talk about that. He had problems with Tim Duncan. He had problems with Hakeem. He had problems with all of them. Now, he did barbecue chicken David Robinson and Tim Duncan a couple times. But he had problems with the Blazers. Game 7. I know y'all remember that. Where Kobe damn near saved Shaq. 25-11. Come on now.
But the efficiency is something I will mention. But it's not all numbers. When I talk about impact, there are impact numbers, but I don't really just start quoting all the impact metrics because a lot of them
every time he talks about impact or anything that a person had on his team, he reverts back to numbers. That's why I done seen at least 10 episodes where he done quoted numbers just out of nowhere, like, well, this person had such and such, such and such this. So the fact that he's sitting up here lying, bro, that's why this dude out of everybody that's on here, bro, I would never listen to him talk about basketball because he contradicts himself. He be knowing about what he be talking about as far as the stats. You know what I'm saying? He can look up the stats all day. You know what I'm saying? Go back and watch whatever he watched all day. But a lot of the shit that he's going back and watching, you feel what I'm saying? He only going back to watching to look at the stats and stuff. He always brings up stats.
don't agree with them. I just use them as like a gauge. Like if I think someone's extremely impactful and their impact numbers say they are unimpactful, then there's clearly a disconnect between that. But if I see someone is extremely impactful and the numbers say they are impactful, but not the most impactful, I'll go and watch that. I watch everyone's. I don't talk about people I've never watched.
I'm with that.
My takes aren't solely based on numbers. I'd like to talk about their games and how I believe their games impacted the team, but I don't just start saying, I don't even know.
Right, I understand that. I understand that. But when it comes to the argument, right? When it comes to the debate and the back and forth or whatever, and you talk about impact, you just said that there are some numbers that you do mention to, to support your argument when it comes to the impact thing. And now you just said there are some things that, you just say in terms of like the game where you don't mention, but it is part of the impact argument, but that you don't mention at all. And so to me, it's like, how is a person...
Grab my head! Wait, are you sweating? Didn't you use allspice product?
That is debating with you. How are any of us, anybody that you're talking to, supposed to know what is the numbers and what isn't the numbers when we always hear you say impact and then you support the impact argument with numbers like efficiency, true shooting, and stuff like that, right? So when you talk about dominance, you can say however you want to say or whatever, but at the end of the day, you will have to, prove that point by numbers.
There's a lot of things when I talk about impact. If I say someone is factually more impactful, which I say a few times when I'm talking about certain players, that's when I'm looking at impact numbers and there's a clear gulf in the impact numbers. That's when I'll say
this nigga is talking in circles, bro. This further proves that a lot of these NBA YouTube niggas be contradicting themselves and do not know what the fuck they be saying. Do not be remembering what they be saying. Because this nigga just sitting up here talking in 360 circles when he knows that he brings up stats every fucking debate that they have on this damn channel. Shout out to, I think this Euro at the bottom left, or no, bottom right, because he cooking them, because he calling him out. And every time I look up and do a video, I probably done did about 5 or 6 of their videos and reacted to it. You know what I'm saying? And every time he's bringing up statistics. You're saying that you're gauging a person impact. You might say true shooting percentage. That's a stat. At the end of the day, that is a stat. What you should do and what I do sometimes, I give it balance. Stats, accolades, and eye tests. Just like Kobe, for instance. I won't use no stats. When he was playing with Shaq, bro, and he had the ball in his hand a lot of the times, Kobe was so impactful for that team. Forget the stats. I go to the first finals when he did average 15, but forget the stats. Kobe had played against Reggie Miller. He held Reggie Miller to his worst shooting performance in the playoffs, period. 1 of 16. Picking him up 94 feet. Or his facilitating. When they didn't have a point guard. And, okay, I'm going to use this one stat. And he led them in assists. But he was facilitating for everybody. Even the role players. Kobe damn near was playing the role of the point guard. And that impacted. He was able to get Shaq the ball when he needed to get him the ball, which impacted the team a lot. That's what talking about their games would be like. I didn't mention no stats or nothing like that. I said he did lead in assists, but fuck the assists. Just the facilitating him having the ball in his hand most of the time and getting Shaq the ball where he needed to versus inferior competition. Kobe played his role and was like, okay, Shaq is the most dominant player on the team. We're going to get him the ball against Ty McCullough or Dikembe Mutombo or Rick Smits because they cannot guard him. And that was a great impact on the team because Shaq couldn't pass it to himself. So that's an example of not using stats or not using accolades to explain the impact of a player. I just explained to you how Kobe as the point guard impacted Shaq and his dominant performances in the finals. This man will go right back to stats and be like, well, Shaq had a 62 true shooting percentage. Bro, that's still stats, bro. So you're still contradicting yourself.
Factually more impactful. If I say I believe someone is more impactful, it comes from what they did in their games that would lead them to, in my opinion, be a more impactful player than someone else. And if someone disagrees with them being more impactful, then that's fine. We can have a debate about why you think someone else is more impactful. That's fine.
I don't think people are disagreeing with you. And when it comes to that, I think people don't put as much stock into the numbers that you are.
I don't mind if people,
like, for example,
care about what I care about. That's fine. Like, you don't have to agree that I think Bill Russell was more impactful than Will Chamberlain, for example. You don't have to agree with that.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the debate that we had about Rudy Gobert when you said that he's an elite perimeter defender, because objectively, if I say Rudy Gobert is a terrible perimeter defender, you say that that's objectively wrong.
Yes.
Because there's numbers to back that up. And so I'm saying it's like, okay, there can be numbers.
I'm done with it though, bro. I ain't finna list. This is where they start talking about Rudy Gobert, man. But yeah, man, this guy is fraudulent. You know what I'm saying? So now accolades don't matter. You know what I'm saying? This guy flip-flops. He was just talking in the circle the whole time, bro. But yeah, man, this has been Who Is Hendo, man. I'm out.